So it's all done and dusted. Your final literature paper. Here's the memo. So question 1 was the poetry essay question. It was Fern Hill, and just like any other essay, it needed to follow an introduction, body 1, body 2, body 3, and conclusion, kind of structure and format. So it was all about the diction, imagery, tone, and Fernhill, and simply put, how it captures the beauty and sadness of childhood. So we reflected on the innocence, joy, and wonder of childhood, and this was juxtaposed to the inevitable passage of time. And simply put, the tone, it underscores the beauty of youth. In body 1, nostalgic diction, list it. Body 2, vivid imagery, young and easy. And in body 3, the tone. Diction, imagery, tone, body 1, body 2, body 3. And the tone highlighted the sadness of time's effect on youth. You guys can take a screenshot, have a look at it, but this is more or less what a good poetry essay would look like. This is what I imagine the memo is going to read next year. Question 2, winter is coming. So what does the word thick in line 1 convey about the poem? Well, it suggests that the rain is heavy, it's intense, and it might indicate that the raindrops are close together, also forming a solid curtain of water, contributing to the dense and possibly overwhelming atmosphere. Lines 24 to 26, we needed to comment on the effectiveness of the comparison that we had here. It was a simile, and it was likely comparing the act of moving into the rain to a struggle against adversity, and that was the comparison here. These were, well, adverse conditions, and we're drawing similarities now. We're comparing the two, and it's effective because it personifies winter as an enemy or obstacle. Okay, look, this is my memo for the most part. I try to read as many of the summaries as possible, go through it, some of the analyses as well, and yeah, put myself in your shoes, put myself under the same kind of time constraints and conditions, and this is what I've got. So it might not be entirely accurate, but yeah, I think it gets the job done. Refer to lines 4 to 5, so identify the mood in these lines. It's somber and melancholic. If you watched my videos yesterday, this is what we said. This was a pretty easy question, and the phrase sinking away, it suggests a feeling of loss or retreat, as if something powerful and vast, such as the sea, is diminishing or disappearing. 2.2.2, explain how this mood is created. Well, it was created through imagery, sinking away, and that gives us a sense of fading or declination. Something is reducing, and the choice of words, it implies a very slow and inevitable movement, like this trotting towards something a bit more darker or more subdued. It's very foreboding, it's ominous, and it contributes to a very sad or rather melancholic tone, some higher grade English there. And last question, this critical discussion of how lines 18 to 23 convey the central message of the poem. Well, simply put, it reflects a sense of pervasive fear or concern as winter approaches because we're unaware of exactly what's going to happen. And the rhetorical question, it reinforces the idea that everyone is affected by this impending change. And it suggests that the central message of the poem may be more about the inevitability of difficult times. And this is all within an apartheid context. And this inevitability of difficult times, this foreboding, ominous feel, is largely due to the unpredictability of apartheid. So shared human experience and facing fear or hardship. Okay. Question 3, prayer to mosques. So explain why the speaker refers to his ancestor as lion-headed. The term lion-headed, it signifies strength, courage, and nobility. That was an easier level 1 question. And by referring to his ancestor this way, the speaker shows respect and admiration, associating his ancestor with the qualities of a lion, the strength of a lion, and this symbolizes leadership and honor within the community. Line 3, the word silence. What does it reveal about the speaker's attitude, motivate your response? Well, like we said in the videos yesterday, it suggests reverence and respect for the ancestors. And it indicates that, oopsie, sorry, let me just add an E there. This was a PDF and I just cut it out, screenshotted it, and plugged it on the slide. Sorry about that. Approaches them with humility, acknowledging their wisdom and the weight of tradition. So silence here, it reflects the speaker's awe. That's not aware, and submission before the powerful legacy of the ancestors. So submission, submissive, we submit to something greater than us. Okay, it's almost as though these ancestors have like a godly feel to them. 3.3.1, identify the figure of speech in line 13. The figure of speech used here is a simile, the use of like, and this line compares the sacrifice of lives to the poor man giving away his last piece of clothing. And this emphasizes the man's selflessness and ultimate sacrifice. This is in reference to all the war veterans, the soldiers, all the young men who lost their lives to fight for a cause that was worthy, but also it represents the futility of life and living. 3.3.2 comments on the effectiveness of this image, and the image here is effective because it highlights the depth of one's sacrifice, showing that one's life is as meaningful and final as a poor person giving away their only possession. It's selflessness, and it emphasizes the selflessness and desperation of those who make such sacrifices, enhancing the emotional impact of their actions. So anything along these lines here, you would have scored the mark. Critically discuss how the line, in line 20, conveys the central message of the poem. The line conveys resilience and endurance, and it portrays the people as unbreakable and deeply rooted, similar to that of hard soil. There's your comparison. And it suggests that despite suffering and oppression, the people remain steadfast, holding firm to their identity and cultural roots. So regardless of everything, whatever life had thrown at them, they are simply down to their roots. They simply are. And this reflects the poem's themes of survival, strength, and resistance in the face of hardship. So the calling of the ancestors to show them the way after a very difficult period of colonialism. And at a funeral, that was the prediction we put out yesterday. I love to see it. 4.1, explain the use of the phrase black, green, and gold. It represents the colors of the South African flag as well as the colors of the ANC. Well, simply this struggle of African unity against oppressive forces. But in this context, apartheid, South Africa. And the use of these colors in the poem, it emphasizes the connection to South Africa as a whole, their fight against the apartheid regime. And it serves as a tribute to the deceased, all those that have fallen for the movement. The word pageantry, it suggests that the funeral is not just a personal loss, but a grand ceremonial event with a sense of dignity and honor. It implies that the deceased's life had significant meaning to the community and struggle for freedom, making the funeral a symbolic and public affair. So very, very public. 4.3.1, identify the figure of speech in line 9. It was personification, well done. Freedom here is given human-like qualities, as though freedom, liberation here, can shout and stir the earth because, well, people are free now. Comment on the effectiveness of this image. Well, look, the answer is always effective. It personifies freedom as a powerful force, and you can get very creative and colorful here with your answer, as it can awaken and move the earth. It conveys strength, urgency, the fight for liberation, and inspires people to action. And the last question here, we discuss how line 12 conveys the central message of the poem. This line highlights the theme of resilience and defiance against the apartheid regime. It suggests that dying with dignity in the struggle for freedom is preferable than passively accepting oppression. So fighting versus being peaceful. And this sentiment, it encapsulates, higher order English there, the courage and determination of those fighting for justice, further reinforcing the poem's message of bravery and commitment to a cause greater than oneself. Okay, and that was 4.4. Guys, whatever happened in today's paper, it's done. Put it behind you. Paper 3 is done, paper 1 is done, and now your final paper 2. It's all over for your English mark. Put it to bed, put it to rest, focus, move on to the next paper. You're almost there. You got this, okay?